What Elon Musk says he's upset about is the deficit, and you can sort of understand that, given that he spent several months in a very public place attempting to cut costs, making sort of wild claims that I think at the time a lot of economists were not crediting, but nonetheless, acting out this vision of attempting to cut government costs. This bill, of course, largely because it extends tax cuts that were passed during the past Trump administration, will increase those deficits. And Musk, as he said, sort of views that as an insult. But, to Trump's point, to the president's point, this bill that passed is not going to be good for Tesla. We're talking about a serious hit to the company's margins that we're going to see probably pretty quickly.
But that's not a surprise.
No, not a surprise at all. And I think what is most strange about this performance and the feud that you brought up between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is that all of this was predictable. It's not like Donald Trump ran as a pro-EV candidate. He ran basically to take a bite out of the industry, and that is happening. And Musk, perhaps because of that, perhaps because of the deficit, maybe a combination of those things, maybe it's wounded pride, is reacting very negatively, doing so in a way that so far really seems to have mostly done damage to his own interests rather than the president's. I mean, I don't think we saw any lawmakers who would have supported this bill back away from it because of Musk's threats. Obviously it took some cajoling. The Trump administration really had to scramble to get this bill, passed before the July 4th holiday, but they did it despite Musk's, railing and Musk's threats. So and at the same time, over the course of the day, right, we're talking about probably like $100 billion worth of market cap that has evaporated, amid this feud. So a lot of damage to Musk's own interests, at least near-term damage. Not seeing a lot of political consequences so far beyond that.
How seriously are we supposed to take Elon Musk's, idea here that we should be creating a third party? It was interesting because if you look at that poll, he did get a notable amount of support when he asked, should we create, this other party? 65.4% agreed yes. Now, of course, these are ex-users, so perhaps the sample
Elon
is
Musk
skewed.
Followers, yeah.
Right.
I think they were primed
People have not
to
muted
respond
him
yes.
yet.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, you do see support for this kind of thing, kind of in theory, fairly robust, but then in practice it tends to melt away, right? And Trump is right, in that clip you played, talking about the challenges of working outside of the third-party system. What we've seen over the last couple of decades is that it's very, very hard to mount a successful, third party. What works for outsiders is essentially trying to take over an existing party, which is exactly what Donald Trump did when he ran for president in 2016. And that is essentially the outsider playbook. Musk is attempting something else. I think if you talk to most kind of political operatives, what they will say is that he's deluded. He's out of touch with reality. Like this is not something that the normal laws of politics say could happen. On the other hand, like that's kind of Musk's whole thing, right? Is setting these audacious goals and that maybe seem delusional, and then attempting to execute on them. I think if he does try to do that, there will be consequences for the rest of his empire, and maybe very bad consequences.
30 seconds left. Do Democrats use this as an opportunity to try to get money from Elon Musk?
I've been wondering whether or not we'll see some kind of enterprising Democrat do just that. We haven't really. I mean, there are a few kind of fringy figures, but no major presidential hopefuls have. And I think the reason is that Musk tied himself so closely to Trump that it would be very difficult politically for a Democrat to do so. And even as he's criticizing Trump, he's not criticizing him from the left or from the center. He's criticizing him from the right. He's essentially saying we need more cuts, not fewer cuts. He's not talking about Medicaid cut being bad. So I think that's the issue for Democrats.